A sun was just beginning to rise over the airport, the light slow and golden washing over the silent terminals inside the building. It was cold, peaceful and still. Ibrahim Traoré stood near Gate 37, waiting calm and patient. He wore no suit. He had no bodyguards. He carried nothing flashy to the casual eye. He looked like any other African traveler, but he was not just any traveler. He was Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, traveling not with fanfare, but with humility and silence. No cameras, no grand announcements, only the quiet rhythm of a man who believed in staying close to his people, staying grounded in their lives. He had just returned from important talks in Europe, discussions of gold sovereignty and the future of Africa. But now, all he wanted was to go home. He walked toward the Air France flight to Ouagadougou, greeted an airport worker in warm French bonjour ça va, and smiled. The worker smiled back, unaware of the greatness standing before him just the way Traoré liked it. He boarded the plane with quiet dignity, nodded to the crew, and slipped into seat 2A by the window, unnoticed, untouched by ceremony or vanity. But behind him, the air began to shift, a few rows back. Whispers stirred an older French businessman, a CEO of a major energy firm, was also heading to Burkina Faso. He was used to velvet ropes, first-class seats, and glasses of champagne. He was not a man who accepted inconvenience easily when he reached the gate and found business class full. He grew impatient. His assistants buzzed around him, and his polished shoes tapped the floor with an air of practiced arrogance. To him, rules were suggestions for others. He demanded an upgrade immediately. The gate agents scrambled, embarrassed, fearful whispering and tapping on their tablets, but the truth remained cold and simple. Business class was full. Every seat occupied. The airline sent Claire, a senior flight attendant, to solve the problem. Tall, pale, in her crisp Air France uniform, Claire wore a smile tight and polished. Her walk sharp, her eyes sharper. She entered the cabin and scanned it like a hawk seeking prey. Her gaze fell upon Traoré in his hoodie. No gold watch, no entourage, just a black man alone. She leaned toward another attendant and muttered a guess. Probably a mistake. She strode over, forcing another brittle smile. "Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" Traoré looked up, handed it over. Without fuss, she examined it, frowned slightly. Everything matched, but her mind rejected it. He did not look like he belonged. She returned with a sickly smile. Heavier this time. "Sir, we may need to move you to economy class. We will compensate you." The words fell like a blade, polite but brutal. Traoré raised an eyebrow and spoke calmly. "And why me?" "No reason, sir. Just a small adjustment for our guest." "A guest more important than me." The cabin around them held its breath. Passengers pretended not to watch, but every ear stretched. Every heart leaned closer. "No, I will remain in my seat." He spoke it not with anger, but with an unmovable weight. Claire blinked, stunned. She was not used to refusal, especially not from a man like him. She tried again coldly. "Sir, I must insist. Operational reasons." Traoré met her gaze steady, calm, direct. "Then explain why it must be me and not another." Her mouth opened, but no words came. Only a flushed silence. The tension cracked. The air. Passengers peeked over. Newspapers. Fingers froze over keyboards. But no one spoke. Claire backed away, muttering to herself. She whispered to the captain, then returned, not to Traoré, but to another young black man pointing at his seat, demanding he move. Then another, the pattern so clear it burned. That was her second mistake. Traoré watched silent, calculating, witnessing humiliation sharpened his focus. Not his anger, a young African man bewildered asked why him. Claire offered no answer, only the cold hand of assumption. Enough. Traoré stood, his voice quiet, but like iron. You are moving people because of skin, not tickets. That is called discrimination. Claire trembled inside, but forced a smile again. Sir, please sit. We must not cause a scene. Traoré's eyes never wavered, and for a heartbeat Claire forgot how to breathe. Still, she clung to her mask of authority, blind to the truth before her. The CEO finally boarded, full of pride. He smirked at Claire. She offered him a flute of champagne, dripped in false smiles, whispering that they were fixing the seating. He sank into business class like a lord surveying his land. Never glancing at Traoré 2 seats away, the plane rolled down the runway, rising into the sky, carrying an unseen storm. Inside, the cabin lights dimmed. Passengers relaxed, but Traoré sat by the window awake, patient, watching the clouds, watching history bend. Claire returned later with another forced smile. Would you like anything to drink, sir? Water is fine. No apology, no grace. Only a mechanical nod. She walked away quickly, her attentions instead lavished on the CEO, laughing at his jokes, nodding at his arrogant proclamations about bringing order to Burkina Faso. 2 seats away. Traoré heard it all, but remained silent. One African nurse returning home shook her head, whispering to her neighbor, "That is our president." Her neighbor's eyes widened, fear sealing their mouths. They knew better than to expose him. The hours passed slow and heavy. Soon the captain announced the descent. The city of Ouagadougou stretched below, glowing under the golden sun. The passengers saw movement on the tarmac. Black SUVs, military vehicles, lines of soldiers standing rigid. Whispers broke out. Is this a war zone? No, it must be for someone important. The French CEO grinned, puffing up proudly, assuming the parade was his honor. The plane barely touched down before a tall officer in a black beret boarded his boots, striking the floor like drums. He moved directly to seat 2A, raised his hand in a salute. Moura, President, welcome home. The silence inside the plane was so deep it could drown. Claire paled, frozen in place, her clipboard slipping from trembling fingers. The CEO stumbled back, stuttering. President Traoré rose, not with anger, not with pride, but with the heavy calm of true power. His eyes briefly touched the CEO, who shrank beneath them. Then he stepped off the plane into sunlight, into applause, into the embrace of his people. 2 more officers entered, stern, silent. They approached Claire and the CEO. You 2 come with us immediately. Claire gasped. Why me? The officer answered without warmth. You are being detained for public insult and discrimination toward the head of state. She tried to laugh, tried to deny it, but the handcuffs clicked cold and final. Passengers watched as the 2 were marched down the steps, past the guards, past the ministers, into waiting black vehicles. The heat baking the tarmac. The shame heavier than the sun. Inside the terminal, Ibrahim Traoré faced the press, his voice firm and steady. In Burkina Faso, we do not judge a man by his skin, we do not bow to money or old habits. Here, we honor dignity and humanity. That is the new Africa. The story exploded across the world. Images, videos, witnesses speaking online. The hashtags spread like wildfire. Respect Africa, stand with Burkina. The world watched as power returned to its rightful place. Air France scrambled, issued apologies filled with hollow regret. Too little, too late. Calls for boycott erupted across Africa. Pride surged. Claire wept in a cold interrogation room, sobbing, "I did not know who he was." The investigator's eyes remained hard. "You did not need to know. You only needed to show respect." The CEO tried to twist pull strings, call in favors, but Burkina Faso's court held firm. No privilege, no immunity, only justice, equal for all. Traoré never gloated, never mocked. He simply returned to his work, building roads, empowering youth, defending his land. But the legend remained, the story of a quiet man in a hoodie, a flight attendant blinded by prejudice, a CEO devoured by arrogance, and a landing that changed everything forever.